Everyone, can you hear me? Hi, good evening, good day, everyone. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, please let me just get a response. If you can hear me, let me get a response. Okay, that's great. All right, okay, great. So, good day, happy new week to us. Happy new week to us. How was our day? If our day is still ongoing, for some of us whose time zone is not W18, sorry about that. For some of us whose time zone is not W80, how is our day going? All right, that's great. That's great. That's great. So, all right. Good day, good day, good day, good day, everyone. Now, how was last week for us for design, for product design? How was last week? Can anybody share their experience? What did you learn last week? What was your take home last week? What was your take home last week? What was your take home last week? Someone says they are still in traffic. Ha! Actually, the traffic was hectic today for me. I was also in traffic. I think there was an accident on the road. So the traffic was amazing. Okay, so what was our take home last week? I want someone to just tell me something they learned last week. If you can even mention the topics of last week and something you took home, that would be very fantastic. Something you learned last week, a take home last week, something you practiced last week, something you did last week, something that you did not know as of Monday last week, and now you already know it. So let me get that. Let me get that. Oh, Semitaya says you are not the user. That's amazing. You are not the user. Someone said last week was good. Someone says user research. Someone says you spoke about qualitative and quantitative research. Yeah. Okay, user research is the topic. Design without research is just a guesswork, and every guesswork will lead you into trouble. Yes, user research. Last week was really insightful. We learned about design research, quantitative research methodologies. Okay, that's great. Victor says it was impactful. I was able to learn the secret of a sustainable product that meets the needs of users. All right. Okay, I like that. User research fundamentals. Okay. A product must be useful, usable, enjoyable, durable. Yeah, I like that. I like that. UI UX is different from product design. Yes, with a little bit of difference. Yes, I like that. Okay, I learned that we should always design with people in view and without guessing. Yes, I like what Adejumobi says, user persona. So you also learned about user persona last week. Okay, basic design concept. PTW says basic IT concept. I think it's basic design concept you mean. Designs are for real needs, not assumptions. I like that. So someone says, Colin says that a good product must be usable, useful, equitable, and enjoyable. Okay, we learned the strategy that works in one market may be completely may completely flip in the other. Yes, 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 yes. JS graphics, I learned we shouldn't do guesswork. I like that. I like that. That's amazing. In fact, that summarizes everything you learned last week. That summarizes a lot of what we talked about last week, and I'm very sure, I'm 100% sure it was an amazing time with designer Fola. I am absolutely, because I know I followed everything that was said. It was an amazing time. I know we talked about quantitative, qualitative research, interview surveys, and even user personas. I know we talked about product vision, their goals. We talked about something called MVP. We talked about agile or lean methodologies. And I know we talked about an overview of what product design is and the design strategies. So I'm happy to be here. My name is Esther Ajayi, and we'll be going further from what we have learned last week to a very important segment in product design. Now, when you're doing or when you are carrying out product design, it is absolutely important that you carry out your research. And the moment you are done with carrying out your research, there is the part where you then go further into analyzing your research. So you have carried out your research, you've carried out your survey, you've probably created your user research plan. And then from creating your user research plan, you then move a bit further. You carry out your survey, which is your quantitative research, and then from your quantitative research, you move further, you scale it down. Maybe for your quantitative research, you have asked maybe 500 people, maybe 100 persons. You have asked them questions for your quantitative research. Then you scale down now and say, okay, from these 100 people I've asked questions, those were superficial, those were questions to understand who my target audience are and all of those. Now let me move further from understanding who my target audience are to even getting real details from my target audience now. So you move further to qualitative research, which is you asking them in-depth questions. So you can pick like 15, you can pick like 20, you can pick like 25 people, and then you ask them those questions. Yeah. So after you've asked deep, insightful questions, open-ended questions, questions that would make your users really express their mind, really say the things, oh, I've used a particular educational technology complication and these were my challenges. If I'm going to use another application, I don't want such a challenge that I faced in this former one. Now you've gotten insights. You've gotten the real deal. You've gotten pain points of your users. Then you now move to do what? You move to highlighting, or you move to pointing out all of those pain points and how you hope to address them. You would have probably created your empathy maps. Then you would have started creating your user persona to understand how many kinds of users you're going to be dealing with in that particular product. So if you have created your user persona, you want to move to the next phase of your research analysis. And that phase is where we are starting from today. So today we are going to deal with user journey mapping. User journey mapping. I would actually implore us to maybe take a piece of paper or take a jotter. If we can take a jotter, take a jotter, whatever you can use to write. I would appeal to us to do what? To write. Because when you write, I think about 40% of what you hear when you write is retained. So it's quite it's better when you hear, you write. If you know that writing is going to distract you, then you can just listen in and then rewatch later on so that you can pen down some very notable things. I hope that is said. So thank you very much for having me. Now the question would now be, what is user journey map? We've learned about what user persona is last week. Now, what is user journey map? Because user journey map is what would guide you in understanding how your users would flow through the application. Now, we said user journey map is the key to customer satisfaction and business growth in understanding, and sorry, the key to customer satisfaction and business growth is understanding your users, and user journey map is a key to understanding your users. we dealt with one key yesterday, last week, which was user persona. But another key to understanding your users, another key to satisfying your users, to making your users happy, to making your business happy, to making your business know the challenges that they are going to critically analyze, is the user journey map. Now, what is the user journey map? User journey map is a visualization of the process that a person goes through to accomplish a goal, capturing the actions, the emotions, and the pain points of the user. I'm going to repeat that. A journey map or a user journey map, however we want to call it, is a visualization of the process that a person, that a user goes through in order to accomplish a goal, capturing the actions of the user, the emotions of the user, and pain points of the user. All right, someone says I'm going too fast. All right, I'm going to take you back a bit. Now you have a problem, you have noticed a problem you want to solve. So let's bring it back and let's bring it home. You have a problem you want to solve, and probably pick probably pick the education technology or the education industry, since what we are doing is maybe something that is around the education industry. Now, you probably have carried out a research, understanding that so many people want to transition from whatever they are doing to tech. Okay, so you've probably carried out a survey and you've discovered that a lot of people don't have job satisfaction at this point, and they probably want to get a better job. They probably want to do something better. Or a lot of people have been looking for jobs, but they've not gotten good jobs, and then they're still unemployed, and they're looking to switch to a role or to a skill that can get them jobs faster. So probably that is what you got during your quantitative survey. Now you went further to ask those people questions, and then they've given you insights on what has really challenged them, why they've not been able to get a job, and how they've been trying to transition into tech, and maybe they've been having issues. So you were able to get their pain points, you were able to get what has been blocking them or what has been stopping them from becoming skilled in a particular maybe role or maybe job skill. So probably they've been trying to use an application. So these are based on probabilities right now. And this is just to, open our eyes to see some things. So probably they've been trying some applications, they've been trying to learn online, they've been trying to do one thing or the other, but it has not worked. Reason being that those applications have not been able to do due diligence for them to solve their own problem, especially when you are building for the Nigerian context. So maybe they've not been able to learn a good skill or learn a skill well because of some shortfallings or some shortcomings or some pain points. For example, we see some people saying that the network is bad. Network is bad. So that might be a challenge. Some people may have bad network and it may have stopped them from learning the course they want to learn online. Some people may have low data. Some people may not even be able to use their phones to learn those courses. Some people, there may be just so many pain points, so many reasons why people are not learning the courses that they want to learn. And they've been able to talk to you, they've been able to tell you those challenges, they've been able to explain all of those things to you during your qualitative research, which is maybe during your interview and the likes. All right. Now, you have created your user persona. And in your user persona, you have maybe about 4 to 5 types of people. Maybe some people have a particular pain point separately. Another sets of people, they have a different pain point separately. So maybe you have 4 different types of users that want to transition into tech, that want to learn something in tech. Someone says light issue. I can see that. Data issues, light issues. So you have segmented them. This type of user who has light issues, what kind of journey map are we going to create for this type of person, such that even with light issues, he or she is able to do what? Is still able to learn a skill on our platform. That is where user journey map comes in now. So how can we solve for someone having data issues such that at the end of the day, he or she is still able to learn a skill on our platform and learn it well? That those are the kind of questions you now start asking. Some says financial issues. So for financial issues, how can we solve for people having financial issues such that they can still learn well and then complete the course and even have certificates at the end of the day? So you begin to pick all of those pain points, you begin to pick all of those specific user challenges, and you begin to create a journey map for the user. So let's continue. Now let's come back to our definition. The definition now says that a journey map is a visualization. That means you are thinking ahead, you are mapping, you are like a surveyor. You are mapping the process that a person will go through in order to accomplish the goal. The goal now is to learn a skill and to be certified. So let's even bring it home. The goal is to learn a product design skill and be certified a product designer at the end of 12 weeks. Now, this person has some issues, but in order for him to accomplish his goal, how do we solve the problem of the user? So, how do we solve the problem of finance? How do we solve the problem of light? How do we solve the problem of data of this user? Now, a user journey map may help you uncover pain points. At what stage will the financial issue come in? At what stage will the data issue come in? At what stage will the light issue come in? And how do we surmount all of those challenges? Now you are uncovering the pain points, you are exploring their touch points, you are exploring things from their perspective, and you are learning how to improve your product. Let me give an example that is even out of product design but can still be related. There are some people that want to move from where they are to where they want to be. So they want to go to work. They may either use keke, that's the tricycle, or they may use the bikes, or they may use the private cabs, or they may use the normal cabs, or they may even use bolts and the likes, depending on their use case, depending on where they are going to, depending on what they need, depending on the goal they want to accomplish. Whatever goal they want to accomplish would then make you make the choice of if it is a bike that they want to climb, or if it is a tricycle that they want to use, or if it is a BRT that they need to take. Their goal would make a decision on what kind of vehicular, whatever they want to use for to accomplish that goal. If you are following me, say I. If you are following me, say I. I hope I've not lost anybody here. I hope I've not lost anyone here. If you are following me, please. All right. Okay. Oh, that's great. That's great. That's great. Okay. Okay. Oh, I see a lot of people now. Okay, that's great. Now let's move. What a user journey map is not, because sometimes you can think that you are creating a user journey map. Sometimes you can think that you are creating a user journey map, and what you are creating is not a user journey map. So when you understand that this particular thing I'm creating is not a journey map, then you understand what a user journey map is. Okay, yes, true tales of infidelity. That's not your real name, but you said goals like how fast the user wants to reach there. Yes. So, for example, there's a program coming up on the 1st of May, and a lot of people are happy about it. Now, if you are coming from a place to get there in time, you might want to use a private, maybe a private hailed cab that would take you there in time. So you might want to go through those applications where you can, you know, call for a particular ride. Yes. So that also tells, or you might even say, I want to be very fast. So let me quickly enter bikes. You can decide to charter or get a bike so that you can just be very fast, depending on where you want to go to, depending on how you want to go there. That is where user journey map now comes in. So what is not user journey map? What is not user journey map? User journey map is not a service blueprint. A service blueprint focuses on the internal business process that supports the user journey. So if you are creating a service blueprint, you might think you are creating a user journey map, but you are creating something for the business. Now you remember that in our last class, that was last week, we said your users would come first at all times. That's a principle of UX, which is called user centricity. If you are focused on the user, as a UI UX designer, as a product designer, you probably will not be so focused on creating a service blueprint. If you are doing maybe service blueprints, that is different from user journey map. And a service blueprint focuses on the internal business process. Let's say the overall journeys of different kind of people. So you can collate and say all of our users, how will they get on board with our platform? What social media platforms will they use to get to our website? So you are generalizing it for maybe a service blueprint, but for a user journey map, you are individualizing it. You see, I wrote here, I said a user journey map focuses on the user's perspective. A service blueprint focuses on the business perspective, but a user journey map focuses on the user's perspective. That user, what is the frustration of the user? What action is the user taking? What emotion is the user having at this point? And the pain points of the user. Because of time, we also have the experience map. If you are looking at an experience map, you are looking at generic human behaviors. So for example, I said, e.g., how do people use transport system in Nigeria? You are looking at it from a very holistic perspective. You are looking at it from a very broad perspective. That's an experience map. So you are thinking of, oh, how do people use transportation in Nigeria? Or you are thinking of, how do people learn skills in Nigeria? The general concept of learning skills. But user journey map targets specific scenarios. So for specific scenarios, now you are looking at, how would people book a ride on, or how would people learn a skill for DSA? Specific skill. How would people learn a skill and get certified on DSA? All right. So I'm reading something. It says, how do we solve the problem of the user? This is where I was lost due to break in transmission. Okay, so if you were lost at some point due to break in transmission, just move back a bit and then listen up. Now, user story map. If you are creating or you are designing a user story map, that is different from user journey map. A user story is a formula. As a user, I want to be able to do this, this, and this. As a user, I want to be able to, when you get into the team, you are going to see your product manager giving you user story maps. You are going to see them giving you different user stories that you can also work with. So user story map breaks down the feature functionalities into tasks for agile teams. But that is not user journey map. User journey map tells the holistic story of a particular user's experience, including his emotions and actions. Sorry about that. Oops. All right. Okay. Now we have user flow. A user flow is not the same thing with a user journey map. A user flow is not the same thing with a user journey map. Now, a user flow shows the step-by-step diagram of interactions. Let's say the user flow would say from this point, you are starting at this point, or let's say you are starting from, you are entering the application, you sign up, or if you are not signing up, you log in. If you are not logging in, you do this, you move here, you move there. That is a user journey, that's a user flow. But a user journey map is different. A user journey map adds the emotional depth. It tells about the frustrations of the user at some point. It tells of the pain points of the user at some point. It tells of different opportunities that you can get at some point for the user as well. Now let's move. Oh. Now we also have customer feedback reports. User journey map is not customer feedback reports. Customer feedback reports just shows a list of complaints of the customers and then how you hope to solve it. But of course, a user journey map picks those feedbacks and then turns them into context, and then they now work with that context. A user journey map is not a technical flow chart. A technical flow chart maps the system logic, but a user journey map prioritizes human experiences over technical workflow. A user journey map is not an empathy map. An empathy map would look at what the user is saying, what the user is thinking, what the user does, what the user feels. But a user journey map shows the evolution of the user over time and in different phases. Now, the user journey map is not a research or a design plan. So when you are carrying out a research plan or when you are carrying out a design plan, um, you're only outlining tasks, you're outlining timelines and the resources for the research or for the design. But a user journey map focuses on the needs and the emotions of the user. All right. Now, why user journey maps matter? Why does user journey maps, or why do user journey maps matter at the end of the day? User journey maps turn fragmented interactions to a cohesive narrative. User journey maps turn fragmented interactions into a cohesive narrative. So I'm seeing some people complain about not joining WhatsApp groups, and I feel that we should be more dedicated in learning this particular thing, or we should be more dedicated and focused on the class first. I believe for anything that deals with your WhatsApp, maybe any of those communications, it would be sent to you via your email. So please just be patient and maybe be more attentive to the class. When we are done with the class, then you can ask those questions. Thank you very much, everyone. Someone says that we are yet to have the WhatsApp group and almost lagging behind. Okay, so you will get an email this week with the link to your WhatsApp group. Please exercise patience with us. Okay, are we together now? So user journey maps turn fragmented interactions into a cohesive narrative. Someone asked me, what are fragmented interactions? Fragmented interactions are breakings of maybe interactions. I'm still going to use the word interactions. So let's take, for instance, you want to I'm still going to continue using the EdTech fair. I'm still going to use the EdTech fair. So for education, A fragmented interaction would be probably learning product design from the comfort of your home. That is an interaction. You want to learn product design from the comfort of your home. You probably want to learn it for free. You probably want to pay a particular amount to learn the course. Different interactions. Now you are taking those interactions. I want to learn a course and I want to learn product design and I want to learn it from the comfort of my home. Those are interactions I want to have. And I want to learn it online. I don't want the person to come to my house to teach me. So I want to learn it online. Those are fragmented interactions. Yeah. Now, those fragmented interactions of the users, you want to do what? You want to turn it into a cohesive narrative, into a narrative of this user wants to learn product design in the comfort of her home for the next 12 weeks. How would she go about it? And then you do what? You now carry out that plan from start to finish. So let's go. This is going to be a long ride, though. This is going to be a long ride. So just be patient with me. All right. Now, someone says, kindly compare and contrast user flow, empathy map, and journey maps. All right. So that we don't rush ahead of ourselves. An empathy map is something you do during your research analysis, yeah? That explains what the user says, what the user thinks, what the user does, what the user feels about that particular product that you either want to build or that you have built, and a feedback from there. So you are looking at 4 quadrants or more as of now. 4 quadrants or more as of now for your empathy map. What the user says, what the user thinks, what the user does, what the user feels. You are looking at those 4 quadrants with the person in the middle. And that is explaining the things that the user said during the interview to give you more insights about that product, to tell you about the pain points of the products and the likes. Now, for user journey map explains the flow of the user, picking the pain points and picking the opportunities, picking the emotions of the user as he moves on that product. For instance, he has signed up. Did he have any issue during sign up? That's not in empathy map. Did he have any issue during sign up? If he had an issue, what was the solution that he could, what is the solution that we can give at that place so that that issue does not come up again? That's something you put in what? In user journey map. Now, when you are looking at user flow does not think of the emotions of the user when it is working. It only looks at decisions and points. So it says that the user logs in here. If the user does not want to log in, what is the other decision that he wants to make? He wants to sign up. If he's signing up, this is how he can sign up. If he enters into the application, does he want to pick a course? Does he want to enroll? Does he want to look at free courses? Decisions, and then you make it flow, and then you run it through all the tasks that the person is going to use. So if we're comparing it now, all of them are used for research, but user flow focuses on tasks and decisions. User journey map focuses on the entire flow of the user on the application, looking at the emotions of the user and how it will flow through the application. And empathy map looks at the what the user said, what the user thought, what the user felt, what the user did during the interview stage of the user. I hope I've been able to explain that. All right. So let's continue. What are the amazing benefits of creating a user journey map for your product? It helps you dig deep into customer feelings from their point of view, not your own point of view. I was saying it today in one of the classes I had that you really don't matter too much when you are designing a product. Your users matter most in your design. So when one of the benefits of creating a user journey map is that you are digging deep to the customer feelings of the user. You are digging deep to understand what the user wants. You know why? The moment you are able to understand what your user wants, you are able to solve that problem for them and just get their loyalty. So you are able to challenge another benefit. You're able to challenge you and your team's assumption. You might have an assumption that, oh, this is the way we should solve the problem. I remember working on a product once, and in my entire mind, there was a way I wanted to solve the problem in my mind. But by the time I went, to carry out my research, it was a different ball game. What the users wanted was totally different from what I was thinking. And I had to remove my own bias. I had to not put my bias in designing the application. So you see that number two, it actually challenges you and your team's assumptions. Now it identifies currently unmet needs of the users. There are so many issues that some people may be facing at this point. Nobody, all of us were thinking of something like Chat GPT before Chat GPT would come along. A lot of us were always saying things like, why do we have to scroll through Google? We search for a question on Google, or we ask Google a particular question, and over 1 million answer comes in. And we cannot really pinpoint the one that we can, actually use for our answer. But when ChatGPT came in, it was as if that was our answer. Why? Because a lot of us have been asking that question. We had a need, and ChatGPT came and then just looked like it solved that need. Now you can ask questions on ChatGPT or any other AI chats bot, and then you get specific answers for that thing that you are asking. So it's current, it meets the what? It meets the unmet needs and unexpected use cases of the users. You are able to dive deeper into complex journeys across different products. You are able to find roadblocks and different blockers early enough so that you can deliver better products faster. And most importantly, you are able to build and deliver realistic customer focused product roadmaps that meet customer needs early and often. And you discover that when you do all of this, when you meet all of these needs, look at how ChatGPT just came, and look at how we just took the whole market. In fact, I'm not sure they spent up to 3 months before they blew. Why? Because people have been looking for an answer like that. And the moment it came in, boom, it exploded. So if you are able to solve the unmet needs of people, you get their loyalty more. If you are able to solve the needs of people, you get them to, I'm not going to mention the name of any particular product, but remember that there was a time that we were always aggravated about going to banks, going to banks, the queue. We were always talking about different banks. People online were always, complaining about banks, their charges, and so many other things. And all of a sudden, a bank just came and said, don't worry about that. We are giving you a totally free online platform where you can just put your money in and the likes. And you needed to know how so many people just flew from traditional banks to the fintech aspect of things, where you can just sit in your house and you are doing all your transactions. Less people are going to the banks right now, and if you have to go to the banks, maybe it has to be a very, very serious matter. You know what it did? It even made the traditional banks start to change their method of doing what? Of attending to the users. Why? Because this fintech met the needs of users. I was about to say praise the Lord. All right, now let's move. Before getting to the point where you create your user journey map, you should have done some things. You should have carried out your research plan. You should have carried out your surveys, your interviews. You should have maybe drawn up your empathy map. You should have created your user persona. This is a, you see the image just by the side of what I am showing us. You would see that this particular image shows empathy maps. What the user says, what the user thinks, what the user does, what the user feels. So you must have carried out all of that. You must have carried out your research plan. You must have carried out your surveys. You must have carried out an interview. You must have written or drawn out your empathy map, and you should have maybe drawn out your user persona as well. Now, user journey map involves understanding defects in the customer or the user experience and highlighting opportunities for healing those breakpoints in channel and touch point interactions. just because all of these are just to maybe buttress the points I've been giving before. You see that we said you need to understand the pain points of the users. You need to highlight opportunities for the healing of those breakpoints. You need to understand, okay, this is a very serious challenge that the user is facing. So let's say that the user is facing the challenge of traditional bank challenge, going to the bank, queuing. I want to withdraw money, I have to go to the bank. I want to deposit money, I have to go to the bank. I want to send money to my friend, I have to go to the bank. I want to buy this, I have to go to the bank. Now they've seen it as a what? As a defect. They understand that as a defect. People are really complaining. Then they now do what? They now start highlighting the opportunities that they can get for healing. Is there a way we can make people still carry out these bank transactions that they are carrying out? These ones that they are queuing for, can they sit in their house and still carry it out without any issue? And then that was what brought, all of those fintech solutions that we have today. So that explains that. Now, user journey map allows for a new level of insight, new level of collaboration to occur across departments and organizational silos. That is the best case use of user journey map. User journey map is used as a strategic tool for organizational insights and transformation. The more tactical use of journey map is to quickly determine how an interaction design or UX design should align with the customer needs and address broken aspects of their journey. So what you want to do with user journey map is to address pain points. In fact, the summary is that you are addressing the pain points of the users, and not just addressing the pain points of the users. You are going a bit further. You are looking at the emotion of the users, and you are going a bit further. You are solving the problem. Someone, Bade Geshin asked the question, said that is user journey map conducted one-off at the before launching the product or at any point in the life of the product. User journey map is a continuous thing. If you have a user journey map at the beginning of the product, it is good. So that way you are looking into the future. You are thinking of the user and you are saying this is probably how the user would want to use the product because of the problems that the user has already, talked about. Now, when you have designed and when the product is live now, you can still continue creating user journey maps to do what? To fine tune the process of the user all through the application's life cycle. So at every point, you are renewing, you are recycling the user journey map. I don't know if I've been able to answer your question. It says, do you create user journey map for each user persona? Yes, you create for each user persona. You create user journey maps for different personas because those personas have their use cases and you have to look into their use cases. All right, so let's move because of time. What are the different types of user journey map? Now, it says your choice depends on your intention for the mapping process. There are different types of journey maps, but your choice depends on what? On your mapping process, the business goal for the journey effort, and how much impact you want to generate. So you think of those three things. What mapping process do I want to use? What are the business goals? And what impact do I want to make? Types of journey map. We have the current state journey map. And that current state journey map, we said that it shows how customers interact. I'm coming back to your question, David. So it says for current state journey map, it looks at, let me zoom in so that we can see it. I don't know if we're seeing this. So it says how customers interact with a product or service right now. That is current state. How do people use the product right now, right now, right now? If the product is already live, how do people make use of the product? That is the current state user journey map. Now, for that current state user journey map, it details how a customer interacts with the service, the product, or the experience. And its purpose is to identify the strengths and areas for improvement. So if you are looking at current state journey maps, you are looking at those ones that, maybe we are going to take an example for, maybe let's use OPay. So you want to create a journey map for OPay, a current state journey map for OPay. You would get the current state, how people are making use of OPay right now at the moment. Yeah. And then you now continue, looking at it as time goes on. Okay, people are really looking at maybe buying data, or maybe buying airtime, or they're just checking out different things on OPay. So you want to look at that journey map of the user current state. There is also the future state. I think you are going to get the slides later on. So, future state journey map. For future state journey map, it illustrates an ideal experience of users of for users of the products. Like I said, if you are just starting, maybe you just have a solution in your head, you just have something that you really want to solve for. You've carried out your research, you've carried out your survey, you've done all the necessary things you're supposed to do. What you really want to create is a future state map, because you're already ideating this is how people would be using the application. So that is future state. Now, when the product is live, you can start thinking of current state and future state. You understand? Now, we said that this illustrates an ideal experience for users of the product. B. This encourages innovative ideas without worrying about current limitations. And this stands for planning, especially in a fast changing environment. Now we have the strategic situation journey map. Excuse me. The strategic situation journey map. Now, for the strategic situation journey map, this provides a broad view of user goals, dreams, and experiences. You are looking at strategizing now. You are looking at, strategizing a whole lot of things together. Strategic situation from this perspective, from that perspective. You are looking at different perspectives, and then you are trying to see how you can solve those strategic situations. So it helps an agile team see where they are headed and understand the big picture. If you cannot see, then I think you can listen. If you cannot see, but it will be shared to you later. Sorry about that. Now, it helps organize and align team efforts across around the user journey. So for strategic, I've mentioned current state user journey map. I've mentioned future state user journey map. I've said that current state user journey map thinks about the now. Future state user journey map thinks about, the future. How would people use this application, and what are the solutions we can solve for when people start using the application? Strategic situation user journey map thinks about different a broad view of the user goals, a broad view of the dreams of the users, a broad view of their achievements, a broad view of so many things, their experiences, and then it begins to highlight how they can use that particular journey map for their good. Now, we also have the tactical situation user journey map. Tactical situation journey map. It focuses on specific parts of the user's experience, like the sign up stage, or we can call it the onboarding stage, or we can say, for example, if DSA wants to probably create a tactical situation user journey map, they can think of the learning experience. They can think of the learning experience of the user, yeah, and just, okay, the learning experience of this particular user, how does it work? You understand? So you need to look into that as well. Tactical situation like signing up, tactical situation like maybe logging out, like deleting the application, like sending money, all of those features. You want to look into it, and then you want to work things out from there. And then we also have persona based journey map. So someone asked me if we create user journey map for different personas. Now, this is persona based journey map, and we say it tailors the journey map to specific user types who are personas. So you can have 5 personas, and then you can have 5 user journey maps for those personas. It highlights which user role faces challenges in certain situations, or which user struggles with a flow in the product. It allows for a more personalized understanding of different customer experience. All right, so we are going to move. If there's any questions surrounding LMS, WhatsApp, and the likes, we would attend to that very, very soon. All right. So, how do you choose the right user journey map for your product? How do you choose the right journey map for your product? You need to identify the goal that you want to achieve. You need to identify whether it is an internal impact. If it's an internal impact, that's business wise and the likes. If it is an external impact, you need to look at what impact you want to achieve with the product. You also need to consider the team engagement. Maybe your design team is willing to support you, or maybe your management team is willing to support you, because the user journey map has to be something that people, the stakeholders, that's what I'm looking for. It has to be something that the stakeholders would support. So you want to see people support the user journey map. You want to consider the time allocated for your research. If the time allocated for your research is short, then you want to do a quick user journey map. You understand? You want to do a quick user journey map. Now, if the time is really elaborate and you can take a month to carry out your research, you still want to do maybe an in-depth kind of journey map. Now, you want to consider the collaborative product teamwork. As I said earlier, everyone has to be on board for the user journey map. You want to ensure that the user journey map adds real value and not just pretty visuals. You're not just doing it for doing sake, you are doing it to solve a problem. So the user journey map, needs to solve problem. It needs to add real value. If at the end of the day you create a user journey map and it does not solve a problem, even the stakeholders that you are trying to do it for would feel that there is no need for wasting our time on this. Then you also need to avoid treating the user journey map as an afterthought. You should integrate it into your process. You should integrate it into the process. Now, what are the key practices for success? Ensure that your user journey map adds real value. As I said earlier, avoid treating your user journey map as an afterthought. Involve everybody, all the team members, involve them in your process. um Engage your stakeholders too, so that whatever you are doing for the users should align with the business. That's good for a product designer. So you want to make sure that whatever you are doing for your users should align at the end of the day with your business. Now, you want to track the effectiveness of your user journey map process and improvements on the customer experience. Because when you just create a user journey map and you just leave it like that, at the end of the day, you have not done anything. You still need to track, which is why I said it is a continual process. You still need to track it to see if, by creating this user journey map, I've been able to solve a problem. Now that I've solved the problem, has it added value to the users? Are the users feeling better now that we've created a UJM for them? Are they feeling better? Do they enjoy the process now? If they don't enjoy the process, you go back to your user journey map and then you restructure it in such a way that they would enjoy their process, because at the end of the day, your users come first. Okay, so we are going on a break by 8 o'clock. So let me see how we can move from key components and steps to creating the user journey map. Your choice depends on your intention, as I've said earlier, the impact you want to make. Your choice, whatever aspect of the user journey map you want to create, is dependent. You can do a very elaborate user journey map, and you can do a very simple guided user journey map. It's dependent on the impact you want to achieve, is dependent on what the business wants, is dependent on the time that you have to create that journey map. Now, these are the basic things that should be in your user journey map. Who is the person that you are dealing with? Who is that user? that you want to create a journey map for. So who is the persona? Who is the user? That person has to be there. It may not, of course. I know that in the class where they taught you user persona, yeah, I remember that they said it has to be a fictional image and maybe a fictional name, so that you don't use the real name of people to create your user personas. So don't go and put the real face and the, like, now you've seen Esther Ajayi, you now go and you've interviewed Esther Ajayi, then you now go and put my face here that you carried out, you want to create a user journey map for me. You may have spoken to Esther Ajayi, but you can give Esther Ajayi a name. You can give Esther Ajayi maybe Ajay, or you can give Esther Ajayi a different thing that nobody will use to even recognize her. And then you can give Esther Ajayi an image that, someone says an avatar, yes, that's good, that nobody would even use to know that you spoke to Esther Ajayi at some point. You understand? So, who is the actor? You want to deal with that. You also want to deal with the scenario. I used to call this scenario before. So you want to deal with the scenario, and the scenario is like a story. What the goal of the person? What is that person trying to achieve? What is the expectation of the person? What is the goal the person is trying to achieve? You need to look into that. For example, if you look at what I wrote here, we said Alex aims to learn web development to secure a job in tech. Alex aims to find an online service with web development resources that are engaging, easy to understand, and provide real-world application of skills. So that is scenario. Now we have a scenario. Scenario is Alex. Alex wants to learn a skill, and Alex wants to make sure that whatever he learns, he wants to be able to use it in the real world application of skills. So you now need actions. Actions describes what the persona is doing in each phase to achieve their goal. Action describes what the persona is doing. So in the awareness phase, we're still going to deal with awareness. We're still going to deal with phases here. So whatever action the user wants to take depends on the phase. In the phase of awareness, what is the action? What's the action of the user for awareness? How does he become aware? What are the actions that make him aware? What are the actions that make him consider your product? What are the actions that make him, sign up to your product and the likes? Then you have to look at opportunities. Now, I'm so sorry. Opportunities are areas where your organization could do better. Opportunities are places where your organization can actually solve that problem. There is also pain points. There are pain points, but sometimes some people don't really put pain points on their journey map. But of course, pain points are very good if you put pain points on your journey map. Now you have the thoughts and the emotions. At each phase of the journey map, at each phase of your user journey map, what is the thought and the emotion of the user in that space? What is the thought of the user? What is the emotion of the user? Is the user happy? Is the user confused? Is the user overwhelmed? Is the user sad? What are the emotions and the thoughts of the user at each phase? And then we now deal with phase or timeline component breaks up the total journey of the into different phases. Depending on the scenario, this helps you visualize how the customer moves through the scenario to meet the end goals. So you have different phases. You have the awareness phase, you have the consideration phase, you have the loyalty phase. All of those phases are places that you need to consider when you are creating your user journey map. And so let's go over this place again. You have the persona, you have the scenario, you have the actions, you have the opportunities, you have the thoughts and emotions, you have the faces, and another one, you have the pain points that you should input into your user journey map. So as I've said earlier, if you are not writing, you are wrong. And I think our break starts now, so that you can take your attendance and ask any other question. By 8:05, we'll be back to continue user journey map and other things. Yeah. See you soon. All right, can we hear me? Can we hear me? I don't think you have to put attendance submitted in the chat session or put attendance done. I don't think you need to. So just the moment you are done submitting, just continue, just enjoy yourself. You don't need to put attendance submitted. All right. Okay, it's good to be back. Okay. So, like we said earlier before we went for the break, there are certain things that you need to consider when you are creating a user journey map. And we talked about your persona, we talked about a scenario, we talked about actions, opportunities, thoughts, emotions, faces, and pain points. So, let's move to the next. Now, this is how a typical user journey map would look like. This is how a typical user journey map would look like. And for a typical journey map, you would see the persona of the person, or the persona, the user persona. Just put the name and maybe what the person is doing here, maybe just a bit of what the person is doing. But if you have created a user persona in your user research, there's no need to now start putting full details about the person. The name of the person alone is enough. So since we have treated user persona, there is no need to start putting the name of the person, the age of the person, what the person does. Is he married? Is he not married? Is he living in Lagos? Is he living in Akwa Ibom? There's no need to put all of that. But if you don't have that detail, you can of course look for a segment where you can put the details or the persona of the person. Now you have the scenario. You have this point at the top, pinpointing the scenario of the person. So Alex wants to transition into tech career for better job security and higher earning potential. Alex aims to find an online service with web development resources that are engaging, easy to understand, and provide real world applications of skills. Now, after that, you now want to look at this point. So you have seen this is persona. Now, the second part, we have the scenario. The next thing you want to see, you would see the on my left hand side, this words that are written in maybe a slanted format, yeah, in maybe I would call it maybe a vertical format. You would see that, and if you look inward, you will see user actions. So you want to see the actions of the users, you want to see the touch points of the users, you want to see the pain points of the users, you want to see the emotion of the users, excuse me, and then you want to see the possible, opportunities of the users. You want to see the user actions, you want to see the touch points, you want to see the pain points, you want to see the emotions, and then you want to see the possible, the possible solutions or the possible opportunities. I think this the PDF would be shared with us and you'd be able to check it out clearly. Now, at the top part, you want to see the awareness. These are the faces. This part at the top, these are the faces of, the user journey map for this particular user, for Alex. So there is the face of him being aware or her being aware. There is the face of her considering using your application. There is the face of her enrolling on your platform. There is the face of her learning on your platform, and there is the phase of applying for internship on your platform. Now you want to go into user actions. What are the user actions? You want to see, okay, for the action under awareness, the person is probably researching tech skills, exploring various career options and the likes. The person is maybe doom scrolling on TikTok or doom scrolling on Instagram, and then the person just stumbled on DSA. Now, what are the touch points of the user under awareness phase? The person is probably looking at social media advertisements or maybe educational blogs and articles, and maybe that was how the person got to CDSA, or maybe chat groups, maybe your church chat group. So maybe somebody sent a message on your church chat group, and that was how you were able to see DSA. So all of those are different touch points that the user have encountered can encounter before getting aware that DSA is a place where he can learn a skill and then get certified. Now, the pain points, but for the pain points now, maybe he had information overload at some point. Maybe a lot of people were just telling him so many things about DSA. So he had information overload. Maybe he didn't see a credible source that he can actually, maybe like he didn't hear from his pastor that his pastor said DSA is a very good place to learn. So maybe there was no credible source, and maybe there was lack of clarity. So the person may have been confused, and then nobody was able to answer his or her question. Like now that so many people are saying, oh, LMS, we're having issues. So there is, for if I'm going to create a user journey map for us now, at this point, you can probably see lack of clarity in what we are all, saying right now. So lack of clarity. Okay. Now I think we are bringing it home. Now maybe the emotion that people are giving right now is very close to being frustrated. So you can see that the emotion, the circle, this white circle is very close to frustrated. Like, so it's almost down. That means that at this point the person is a bit frustrated, if not very very frustrated. The person is a bit frustrated. Now next thing you want to look at is what? Now you are looking into possible solutions, opportunities. You can now, for DSA, this is where DSA comes in. So DSA can now create maybe engaging content that can simplify whatever issue that people are really really going through. Can simplify it, can make it clear. Maybe they can do a video to tell people what to do, so that they are no longer confused, so that they can have clarity in that stage, so that even if they have information overload, they are able to sift through all of those information and get the right one. So that's the opportunity that DSA can now take from there. So we've dealt with awareness. You can now run to consideration. How do people move from getting aware? Because awareness is just like, now I know that DSA exists. I know that DSA exists, but I've not considered joining DSA to learn a skill. I've not considered joining. I'm not yet thinking like, okay, DSA can solve my problem. I've only just heard about DSA in the awareness phase. So we have dealt with awareness. Now coming to consideration. For consideration now, it becomes, better. For consideration, people are now trying to consider that, should I do DSA or I should not do DSA? Should I do DSA or I should not do DSA? Now, they are comparing online courses, they are comparing boot camps, they are comparing degree programs with DSA. Now, they are seeing that maybe for some other courses, they have to pay some fee. They are seeing that maybe for some particular courses they have to maybe do some particular things that they are really not, it's too stressful for them, but DSA is not giving them that much stress. So they start considering and saying, it looks like DSA is less stressful, it looks like DSA is better, it looks like DSA is not giving us all of the issues that all of these other courses are going to give us, and we can learn from our house. We can learn every evening. I can just come back from work and then I can just, come online and learn a skill, and I'm very, very good. Makes sense. So at this point, you're already considering DSA. So you have checked our website on Incubator. the incubator ng or the incubatorhub.ng, you have checked it out, you see, okay, these people are really genuine. You have looked at reviews, you have looked at testimonials. Shedrack has spoken to you through the video and he has said, hi, I'm Shedrack, I learned a skill in Ogun State and I am this, that, and you're like, okay, if Shedrack can do it, Esther can also do it. So you are considering. Why? Because of all of these things that you have seen. I hope I'm making sense here. All right. Now, we now go to the pain points that the users can encounter. You can see maybe too many number of options. So at this point, you are thinking, should I do DSA? Or maybe there's another course, something that somebody is doing in your church as well. Or maybe there's another course that a friend of yours has just sent to you, or maybe there's something that Lagos State is doing, or there's another one that Ogun State is doing, and then you're just confused, like, which one should I consider? So that's the pain point, yeah. So too many number of options, or the courses are too many, you don't even know the one to do. You are like, should I do product design, should I do product management, should I do cyber security, should I do AI, should I do video editing? It's too much, 12 courses, I don't even know which one to take. You are still trying to consider, okay, which one do I really want to take? Now maybe the quality of information, and maybe if it is a paid course, maybe the fear of losing money. So if I pay, like when me I was trying to pay, to get better, I started paying for courses and learning. So when I started paying, I'm like, if I finish paying this money and I did not get uh value for this money I'm paying for, it's problem. So you understand, you start to think of all of those pain points, and at this point your emotions can be like, maybe as you are considering it and you are seeing that as you consider it and you see that, oh, it looks like DSA does not really have, now you are not really paying money, so I mean, no loss, why not, let's do it. Apart from data consumption, so why not just try it? There's really no loss, let's just try it and see what happens. You are excited at this point, and then you carry out that. Now for pain points, or for possible solutions that DSA can give you, they can make it free, yeah, so that instead of you, because the moment they say you people should bring 100,000 now to learn a skill, or 150,000 or 500,000 to learn, these skills are really expensive that you are learning for free. So the moment DSA tells you, okay, bring 1 million naira to learn product design, you people just jump and say, no. So now they've given us for free, so that you can see value in it. Because they've given you for free, you may want to consider it. Now you've considered, so you're already telling your friends that, oh, I want to enroll for DSA. I want to enroll for DSA. I think I'm trying to bring it home so that we can see how user journey map actually helps us. So you have considered, and then you've accepted that, okay, it's DSA that I will, use to probably learn product design. Now you've gone away from the consideration. Consideration ticked, awareness ticked. Now the next place you are going to is where? Enrollment. Now, how do we enroll? How do we get onboarded? How do we say, you would have selected a course now, you'd have said, okay, fine and good. Now I want to do product design. So how do we sign up? How do we register? How do we do this? Where do I get an email? Where do I, and how do I get onboarded, and so on and so forth? So those are the touch points. Those are the, the actions. Selecting a course and signing up. You are doing that. Then you sign up, you get your email, you get onboarded. If at any point you get a complicated enrollment, or maybe you have a confusion, or maybe you are anxious about the fitting into the course, maybe like someone said earlier, I just did not read it out. The person said, it feels like product design is tougher than product management, or and then I was smiling, because now in the point of considering, you are beginning to consider and say, you are beginning, in the point of enrollment, you are beginning to think, to say, will this actually fit into what I want to do in life? Will this actually do this? You are beginning to ask a whole lot of questions in your enrollment phase. Will I enjoy the course? Who will teach me the course? Will the person be mean? Will the person be lively? Will the person be jovial? Will the person make it as simple as possible, or will the person make it so hard and then I'll have to run away? You are thinking of all of that. And maybe at that point, if the process is not, too, if you enjoyed the if you enjoyed the maybe enrollment phase, you'll probably be delighted that, oh, everything went smooth. But if you did not enjoy the enrollment phase, maybe you now come here and you'll be a bit frustrated. Now you now go to your learning phase. In the learning phase, another segment, another phase, you are now thinking, you are actively participating in the course, you are writing your assignments, you are completing your assignments, you are seeking for help when you need it, you are using your LMS, you are checking your videos, you are checking YouTube, you are interacting with your peers, people are asking questions, other people are answering it. If you get into maybe technical issues, like now you are not getting messages from LMS, you are some of the there was maybe no particular community support, or maybe you were not able to balance the coursework with your personal job or personal commitment, or maybe you did not have a laptop to go through with all of the exercises that was said, you probably may be frustrated. But if you did not have any of those issues, you would be delighted. Then you now get to the point of application, the application phase. You now build a portfolio, you start applying for jobs. At this point, you have maybe created your resume or your CV, your portfolio, and then you probably have gotten an internship placement, and then you have maybe gotten some soft skill training. At this point you are getting happy, but some other part of you can start looking at, oh, anxieties about interviews. What if I don't do the interview well? What if I don't have practical experience, and so on and so forth? You understand? So if if you have all of these issues, you might not enjoy it. But if you don't have any of the issues, your emotion can be in the delighted phase. Now it says, if DSA wants to do it to like make you like really really glad, really really happy, they can even offer a resume workshop. They can offer how to build a portfolio, how to get ready for an interview, and all of that, to just get you prepared, to make sure that you are very very happy at the end of the day. If all of this have been sorted out, you have created a simple user journey map for a user. That is all about user journey map, sincerely. Now let's quickly move, because of time. We have other things to look at. We still have competitive analysis to look at. So a journey map has a specific actor, that is a singular customer or a user of the product, a specific scenario of a product or a service, while an experience map is broader on both accounts. It is maybe a generic human undergoing a general human experience. But a user journey map looks at a specific actor and a specific scenario. Tools and best practices. For best practices, you need to define your scope. You need to use user persona data. You need to test with real users and iterate. So after creating that journey map, you want to test it with real users. You want to maybe take it to a real user and say, if you are going through this journey, maybe you take it back to that person. If you go through this journey, do you think you'd be happy? Do you think you'd be sad? Do you think what? So you want to test it with real users. You want to stay focused on one persona and a scenario at a time. You want to start small, so create something simple, and then you start to scale it up from there. And then you want to design for clarity, something that is very clear. Don't put ambiguous grammar there. Don't put things that would confuse people even more there. Now, tools that you can use Miro. I don't know if it is Miro or Miro or Miro. So Miro. Just, you can use that to create your user journey map, or you can use FigJam. FigJam is an aspect of Figma that you can use to create your user journey map. So quickly, let's enter competitive analysis. I'm seeing someone say something. Okay, I attended a training that the teacher said we shouldn't come to our DM for any questions. Honestly, it became annoying after. Sorry about that. They already taught us how to build a portfolio, but we are looking forward to learning one from our product design class precisely. All right, no problem. We hope that we are fast enough so that we can get to portfolio building. All right, now let's look at competitive analysis. Competitive analysis. So for competitive analysis, what is competitive analysis? Competitive analysis is the process of comparing your competitors against your product to understand their core differentiators, strengths, and weakness. The reason why I'm not asking us questions is just because of time, so that we don't exceed 9 o'clock. If not, I would have just decided to ask us questions so that we can, talk and get insights. But if you can, I don't mind. You can add maybe your own thoughts on what competitive analysis is to you. So, competitive analysis is a process of comparing your competitors. For example, we are dealing with DSA, we are dealing with an EdTech application right now. We are just using an EdTech application for examples. So that means DSA would probably have competitors. Competitors like, you can start to think about them, that are also offering probably free courses that are maybe online as well. You don't have to go outside your house before you learn. Some like Udemy, some like Coursera. There something like, all they have they have different applications or different organizations that even run different online skills that you can learn for free, or maybe you pay 10% of, someone says Allison, exactly. So you have all of those, but now you want to look at those products as against your product. You want to compare those products as against your product to understand the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and the threats of those people. So we call it SWOT analysis. You can look at, in fact, the short term, if you are looking at competitive analysis, is you are looking at the if you are looking at the SWOT analysis of your competitors. It is the process of identifying competitors, evaluating their strategies, and understanding their strengths, their weaknesses relative to your own business. It helps you make informed decisions to improve your market position. You understand? So let's move from here. Competitive analysis reveals who your competitors are, what strategies they are employing, and how audiences are reacting to them. This framework would help you collect competitive data, and then you would analyze your competitors, their product offering, their sales method, marketing strategies, target demographics, their key metrics, and then their consumer perception. You just want to know a lot. You want to know so much about this particular competitor, so that when you get into the market, you would surpass your competitors. I hope we are following. All right. Now, why does competitive analysis matter? Competitive analysis matter because, at some point you want to stay ahead in a crowded market. You want to be better than your competitors. You want to be able to identify opportunities and threats of your competitors. Chijoke says competitive analysis is knowing how to outsmart. I like that word. Is knowing how to outsmart your product competitors. I can raise so many examples, but because we are online, I won't be able to do that. We have traditional bank and fintech. We have traditional education and this edtech platform right now. You understand? They've been able to see their competitors, and they've noticed that, okay, this is a loophole in whatever they are providing. So we can do what? We can take advantage. That's the word. We can take advantage of that loophole, and then we can make something out of that. So you are able to identify opportunities and threats. You are able to inform product development, pricing, marketing strategies. For example, somebody may be somebody may be offering a course and maybe getting a lot of money or telling people to pay money for it, whereas DSA just comes into the building, and then DSA says, we're not even collecting money, you people should come and learn for free. So you see that so many people will rush to DSA because DSA has what? DSA has checked their competitors, and they have decided to do what? To make, maybe they've discovered that, oh, with the situation of Nigeria, or with the situation of so many things, let us not put a pricing on our skill tutoring or something. Let us give back to the society. And because of that, so many of us have the ability to even learn a tech skill. You understand? So it helps you inform product development, pricing, marketing strategies to make sure people, come to your product or come to use your product. If you want to stay ahead of your competitors, you want to carry out a competitive analysis. It helps you. Victory says it is important to better position your product. That is very amazing. Elizabeth talked about SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That is it. That's it exactly. Elizabeth also says taking advantage of your competitor's weakness and using it to improve your own product or business. That is amazing. So you want to make sure that the benefits of competitive analysis are also, I just wrote three right here: to spot your market gaps, find unmet customer needs. When you find unmet customer needs and you meet them, you take their loyalty. For example, we used to have so many bank charges, and then a bank just came and said, I'm not even charging you guys right now. I'm just going to be taking whatever transfer people want to do, just do maybe so and so number of transfers for free. And so many people just started using those applications. Why? Because it is for free. You understand? So some of us are in DSA because we believe that, okay, this is free, so let us, come here. So I mean, it makes sense that way. Clarify your value proposition, highlight what makes your brand unique. That's the benefit of competitive analysis. Then we have use data to refine pricing, to refine marketing, and your product decisions. So that's that. Now let's move. What are the step-by-step guide to conducting a competitive analysis? Step-by-step guide to conducting a competitive analysis. Now you want to identify the competitors. To effectively analyze your competition, you need to categorize them into three main types. You have the direct competitors, you have the indirect competitors, and you have the replacement competitors. Now, just for summary sake, the direct competitors are businesses that offer the same product or services to the same target audience as you. So I kept an example of web browser. So let's say you want to create a web browser, or maybe you want to create a search engine, a web browser or a search engine. So let's pick a web browser, for example. You are looking at competitors like Google Chrome, you are looking at competitors like Mozilla Firefox, you are looking at a competitor like Microsoft Edge. All of those are web browsers. You are looking at a competitor like Apple Safari. Why? Because they all provide the same service, browsing the internet to the same users. So that is if you are maybe building an application for a supermarket, if you are building an application for a supermarket, you want to look at other supermarkets that have created, you know, a an application, and they are also in the supermarket thing. You have to look at them. You have to look at people that sell things, direct customers, direct competitors, people that do or offer the same product as you, and they are looking at your same target audience. Now, if you are looking at a search engine, you are looking at Google search, you are looking at Bing, you are looking at Yahoo search, you are looking at DuckDuckGo and the likes. Now, if a user picks Chrome, they likely won't need Firefox. That is why you are looking at direct competitors. If somebody is using Safari, he probably may not use Chrome. So that's that. Same product as yours, same industry, same target audience. Now, we look at indirect competitors. Competitors are businesses that offer the similar products but not as their primary focus. They are offering similar products but not as their primary focus. They are offering similar products but not as their primary focus. For example, let's still go back to web browsers. Now you notice that emails like Gmail, like Outlook, they also have a place where you can search for where you can maybe browse for some things. So because you can browse for some things on maybe your email, like your Gmail, your Outlook, your Yahoo Mail, because you can browse for something does not make them your direct competitors, but they are indirect competitors. Why? Because you can still browse. So social media applications look more like search engines. Why? Because you can still do what? You can search for some things. You can search for trending hashtags. You can search for one thing or the other in your social media. You can even search for recent DSA videos or something, 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 something. So you can search for that. Now, your replacement competitors. We've talked about direct competitors. They are looking at your target audience. They are offering the same business as you. They are offering same products. They are offering same service. They are offering to the same audience. Indirect, they are offering similar products but not as their primary focus. Yeah. And then we're now looking at replacement competitors. Your replacement competitors are businesses that solve the same problem but through an entirely different method. An entirely different method. For example, any application that lets users access content without needing a browser, maybe an application that answers questions verbally, like your chatbot and the likes, those are replacement competitors. For example, replacement competitors like ChatGPT for the browsers and search engines. Yeah, replacement competitors like maybe all of the AI that is coming in right now. Those are replacements, things that if you are making use of those replacements, you might also not need they might also not need you. For example, if somebody is designing a search engine now that ChatGPT and the other chatbots are available, the person may not sell too much because we already have ChatGPT, we already have all of those, chatbots coming in and taking over the market. So those are replacement competitors. Now, we said that the first thing you want to do is you want to identify your competitors, your direct competitors, your indirect competitors, your replacement competitors. Now, you want to do what? You want to collect data. You want to know about their products and services, their pricing, their customer reviews, their marketing tactics, their social media presence. You want to check you can check their websites, you can check their social media handles, you can check customer feedback, you can check news around them, you can check different reviews that they have, and then you'll be able to collect the right data from them. Now, you can then analyze your competitors. So you want to analyze their strengths, their weaknesses, their opportunities, their threats, and then features that they have on their product. When you see all of that, you are good to go. Now, this is a template for how a competitive analysis should look like. You want to look at the product strength and weakness, the product opportunities and threats, maybe price, quality, service, and then different features that you want to put under there. Then you want to put your company or your product, the first competitor that you have looked into, second competitor that you have looked into. If there are up to seven, you can put the seven. If there are up to five, you can put the five. But you want to put all your competitors, and you want to see how you can structure them side by side. Do we have any questions? You can start bringing in your questions now so that in the next few minutes we'll answer them. Tools and best practices. Know your company, know your competitors, and know your customers. Identify the gaps in the market consistently. All of these that we have said, they are not things that you just do one off and you forget it. You continually identify the gaps in the market. You develop products and services that can attend to those gaps in the market. And as I said, competitive analysis is not a one-time task. The same way your user journey map is not a one-time task. You can continue, checking for competitors. You can continue checking how your market is evolving, and you can continue check for how you can keep getting better. Princess, yes, you will have the PDF for the teaching. You will have the PDF for the teaching. So please, just and even if you don't get the PDF for the teaching, you can always come back to YouTube to just check it again, read it again, watch it again, and make yourself just keep getting used to, keep listening to it. As you listen, you keep getting more insights from it. All right. So someone says I should explain user journey map. Did you come late? If you came late, you can always watch the video again. But if I'm to explain user journey map, I would say that it is a visualization of the steps your users will take on your application or your product. It is the visualization of the steps your user will take on your product, their emotions, their actions, and the different phases they would encounter. If you came late, please kindly watch the video from the start. I think I explained it really, really well. All right. Okay. Where does competitive analysis fall in the types of design thinking phase? You are still in empathize, oh. You are okay for competitive analysis. You can think of yes, you are still in your empathize phase. You are still in your empathize phase. In the design thinking process, you are still in your empathize phase. Okay, I hope I've answered that question. Yes, you have a quiz. Oh, this one is really easy. If you have started joining, please let me know. If you have scanned, let me know. If you have scanned it, let me know. Oops, oops, oops. If you have joined, please let me know. If you have scanned, let me know. If you have scanned it, let me know. Let me see what you are seeing there. No, no, no. This is not Slido. This is not Slido. If you cannot scan the link, sorry, if you cannot scan the link, hold on, please. If you cannot scan it, just put this short link: https, excuse me, https dot slash, that is colon, then slash short url at zmthr. All right. Hold on, I'm looking at what's happening here. Hmm. If you have scanned the link, please let me know. Okay, if you cannot scan the link, just if you can't scan that barcode, rather just input this short URL, and then you can start the quiz. Okay, so while we are waiting, okay, I'm thinking that there is a challenge with that link. I'm thinking there is a challenge with the link. Some of us are having challenges. I'll look into it, but so that we don't just waste our time here, you have an assignment. I know that we had an assignment for last week, so you are building up on that assignment. So what you are doing is, with your knowledge, with the knowledge you have with on user journey map and competitive analysis now, you just continue that assignment whatever you were told to build or whatever you were told to design for last time, just continue that and use that to create your user journey map and your competitive analysis. So continue into your past assignments, create a product user journey map and competitive analysis on Miro or FigJam. As I said earlier, if you cannot scan, just write this link out and then use the link. Let me see this. Okay. The quiz, I think, has started. The quiz has started. Are we having issues with it? I'm not seeing anybody. Are we having issues? I'm not seeing anybody. Okay, you know what? If you are seeing the questions, please start answering it. If you are seeing the questions, kindly start answering. Oh, okay, okay. All right, let's cancel the quiz for today. I see that a lot of us are having issues with the quiz, so we'll just cancel that. So let's cancel that. We still have a quiz for tomorrow. I think so. Either tomorrow or no, sorry, either Thursday or Friday. So let's cancel the quiz for today and let's focus on the assignments. So you just screenshot this and then you can start your assignment. Don't worry about the quiz. 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 Don't worry about the quiz anymore. Don't worry about the quiz. Someone says theirs is working. Okay. So if yours is working and it is requesting for a code, if it is requesting for a code, use the code 213369. 213369. 213369. Use the code 213369. Oh, really? Okay, someone says the UI is very complicated. So let's close that out. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about, someone even says she's already seeing the questions. So don't worry. Let's leave that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the quiz. Let's leave the quiz for now. Let's leave the quiz for now. Don't worry about the quiz. Let's leave the quiz for now. Don't worry about the quiz. Let's leave the quiz for now. Don't worry about the quiz. Leave the quiz for now. Don't worry about. I'm seeing that people are just joining right now. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I see that now. Don't worry about it. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, so we'll do our assignments. We'll do our assignments. And if you need to meet me on LinkedIn, my name still remains Esther Ajayi. For the quiz, let me see if I can just look at those questions. Give me a moment. Um, I see people are still joining. You guys don't want to give up. Don't worry about this. We would sort it out later. We would sort this out later. We would sort it out later. For people who are requesting for the past assignments, um, I think DSA will reach out to us when we join our WhatsApp platform or when we join the WhatsApp group. Someone says, can the assignments be in a tabular form? And depending on however where you want to put it. I think on these slides, we have an example of a competitive analysis. You can also use FigJam. So when you get to FigJam, you have templates that you can use to create your competitive analysis. And then on also on FigJam, you have a template for your user journey map as well. So you can use FigJam to create your user journey map, and then you can use FigJam to create your competitive analysis as well. Do we have any question? Do we have any question? Do we have any question? Okay. Prince said I don't respond to my message. Is it on LinkedIn? If it is on, send me a message. I would respond to it. Okay. Can we still see me? Can we still hear me? If you can see me, if you can hear me, we'll meet on Thursday. I believe that's what is on our timetable. I believe before Thursday we would have been able to sort out the WhatsApp issues, the LMS issues that we are having. So please just bear with us for the meantime while we sort out these issues. And have a great night. Do your assignments as well. Bye, everyone.